Hi, welcome back to the Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda. So, if you've been following my Instagram, I have been talking about a product from the Dollar Tree that we must all run to buy. So, what is it? This gorgeous contact paper that comes in this really pretty yellow color and this roll that comes in a really pretty aqua blue color. And I have been just going to town with this stuff, transforming things all over my house. And I'm going to show you a few of the things that I did today. The first makeover I did was with this candy jar that you get at the Dollar Tree, which a lot of the things that I'm going to use today did come from the Dollar Tree. So this is all really inexpensive stuff that you can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove all the labels and packaging off of the candy jar. So my idea was to put the contact paper on the lid. So the first thing I had to do was remove the original knob, which I tried pulling on it and it did crack the lid a little bit, so don't pull on it. And I used my wire cutters instead to loosen it. It didn't cut, but just loosen it so that I could pull it off of its little attached piece. And save that original knob because you'll need it later. What I wanted to use instead was this wooden knob that's actually a wheel off of one of these wooden cars from the Dollar Tree. I used my wire cutters to cut the wheel off of the car and cut it down to size. The next step is to cover the lid with the contact paper, which is just a really easy process of tracing the lid onto the contact paper, cutting it out, and putting it on. To attach the wooden knob that we made, we're going to use the original plastic knob. Use a heavy-duty glue like E6000 and put it down inside the cylinder part of the plastic knob and put it right back down over the post where it was attached. Then use that heavy duty glue and put a dollop of it on top of the plastic knob and put the wooden wheel down on top. And leave it be until the glue is dried. And my idea while constructing this was to use it to hold my laundry pods. Continuing on with the laundry room theme, I wanted something to put my laundry pins in. So this is a jar that came from the Dollar Tree. All I'm going to do is paint the lid with some white acrylic paint, or you could use chalk paint. And I didn't worry about covering the top because that's where our contact paper is going to be. And I didn't worry too much about covering every little nook and cranny around the edge of the lid because I wanted that distressed rustic look. Peel and stick the contact paper and you have yourself a matching clothespin jar to go with your Tide Pod container. Next up is a makeover of a clock from the 1990s. Everyone remember this Apple motif? So this I found at a junk store. You can probably get them for under $1 if you look at the Goodwill. And I'm going to take the battery out, take the plastic piece off the top, and transform this with our beautiful, beautiful contact paper. But first, it desperately needed a bath. It's easy to pop the front plastic piece off of the clock just using a butter knife. Then very gently remove the plastic hands. And I tried to make a mental note of what order they were in when I took them off so that I could put them back in the right order. Again, use a butter knife to pop out the apple. Next, I'll take the green plastic piece along with the hands outside and spray paint them with this Krylon Fusion white paint. And while the paint is drying outside, I'll work on making over this apple piece. It seems like I'm working with a lot of circles today, and it's the same thing. Just trace around the circle and cut it out and peel and stick. I did stick it to the back side so that there would be no chance of the numbers or the apple showing through the contact paper. I used a tiny screwdriver to punch through the hole where the hands need to come through. Instead of using numbers on the clock, I'm using wooden craft sticks, and I'm just going to make 4 skinny-ish kind of slivers, and that will be in place of the 12, 3, 6, and 9. I found it best to use a ruler to line them up, and then at first I used hot glue, but I quickly found out that the hot glue wasn't going to stick that wood to the contact paper, so then I had to go back and glue all the pieces with E6000. When your painted pieces are dry, then it's time to reassemble. So just put the contact paper piece back inside and reattach your hands. And you can put the plastic original front back on. I left mine off because mine was pretty yellowed and I didn't want to mess with getting it clean, and I was fine with it not having that plastic front. So that's optional, up to you, but I left mine off. And so the whole point of this is so that it matches all my other laundry room pretties. And I would show you this all in my laundry room, but my laundry room is not complete yet. So instead, you're seeing it in my kitchen. So you've been seeing me make all this stuff for my laundry room, and I'm using that aqua blue because goodness knows that's my favorite color. But this time we're going to use some of the yellow, and I'm using one of these round mirrors from the Dollar Tree. The first thing I did was give it a couple of rough coats of Rust-Oleum white chalk paint to where some of the black did shine through. It would automatically look a little distressed. I didn't paint the mirror because that's where our contact paper will go. So it was just a little bit tricky to get a circle-sized piece of contact paper cut out that's going to fit the size of this mirror. So what I did was I measured the width of the mirror, which was about 7 3/4 inches, and then I cut a square of contact paper that was the same 7 3/4 inches width and height. So a square that is the same. Then I pushed that square of contact paper down inside the mirror and made it as tight a fit as possible and traced from the inside. And then I cut it out and stuck it down. I decorated mine with a G that was from Hobby Lobby. It's for my last name. And before you glue anything down, make sure you check out the back where the hanger is so you don't get it upside down. I used E6000 to glue the G in place, and then it was finished. Next up, I'm using this organizing bin that I found at Target for only $2, and it is a really good size for $2. It's from this new collection called Bright Room, and they have so many cute containers and organizing things that, yeah, I really would like to have all the pieces. But I think I could make it even cuter using some of that contact paper, so I'm going to decorate the lid. I'm using pretty much the same technique I used when I put the contact paper over the mirror by just pushing the contact paper up against the edges and tracing from the inside to get my shape. Then cut it all out and stick it down, and now this little container has been upgraded to match the rest of my laundry room things. Plus, while I was in Target, I couldn't help myself. I had to get the little matching trays because I knew they were going to match this contact paper perfectly. I think it was only $3 for the set, so making them only $1 a piece. I mean, can't beat that at Dollar Tree anymore. And I think that they'll hold things that I find in pockets when I'm doing the laundry. The next hack is using these decorative pieces that you can find at the Dollar Tree. They're meant to hang on the wall, I guess, because they have these holes in the back. I picked up 4 of them, but for this DIY, I'm only going to use 2, and I'm going to make risers. And I'm using these wooden cubes from the Dollar Tree for the feet. So that the decorative pieces will match the contact paper, I did paint the edges with some white chalk paint. Then I threw the 8 wooden cubes into a bowl with some white chalk paint and painted them all up white as well. This time I used a little bit different technique, and I cut a square a little bit larger than what the piece was, and I'm going to stick it down. That way I don't have to be so precise with the measuring and everything, and then I just use my utility knife to trim off the excess. And then I used wood glue to glue the feet on, and this little transformation is finished. And finally, the simplest one of them all, using this pretty color candle I got from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to combine that yellow contact paper and make a new label for it, and that's going to wrap up all these contact paper DIYs. So let the hunt begin. I hope you can find these contact papers in your local Dollar Tree so that you can transform these things like I did and have a whole matching set. If you liked these ideas, give me a comment down in the comment box down below and let me know what you thought of everything I did today. If you're looking for more DIY fun, click the link that I've provided for you right here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!